One.
And welcome to the Talon Outdoor Show. I'm Charlie.
I'm JD.
And I'm Fred.
Captain Paul Tire.
And I'm Graham.
Fred is back. Fred, it's been what, like 4 shows? 3, 4
It's
shows?
been a minute.
You've been gone.
Well,
Or ignoring us or something.
No, I had a colonoscopy. That was
We talked about that.
Yeah,
not
we
not
talked
with you
about that
here,
for 2
but,
shows.
but yeah, we
oh yeah, this was an adventure.
Lord.
So
I can only imagine.
Have you ever had one of those?
Yeah.
So, you clean yourself out. You know. You
Yeah. Drink all that stuff and
But then you go into this room, you know, up at the digestive disease clinic, and you're not the only guy getting the.
oh no, you're
And so it's like it was a reunion up there. There's a bunch of people up there.
But did you make eye contact?
I tried not to. And one of them's, you know, they were wheeling him out, and I recognized him, and he's all loopy, and I'm like, hey, they got you too? And he's like,
Oh, God.
sound like Biden at the debate. They wheel you back into the area, and they give you a bag to put your clothes in, give you one of those hospital things, tell you not to button it up, so they already got you humiliated. And then they take you in there. I couldn't pronounce the doctor's name. He said, we're going to do, I don't know what he said. Gave me some kind of drug. I don't remember anything after that until I'm back in the recovery bay. And I didn't know, they didn't tell me this, or maybe they did, but I didn't remember it if they did. Apparently, they juice you up with a bunch of air.
yes.
I guess so they can,
inflate everything inside you. Yes.
yeah, and so my wife's back there in the recovery area. Yeah. And you're divided by these curtains, but there's 10 people back there recovering. And I discovered during this, and they won't let you out until you get all your air gone. And I discovered that I got other musical talents other than my voice and the guitars and pianos and all that. And
Was there any giggling going on during all the passing of the excess air?
I thought it was hilarious, but then again, I was on drugs, and so I'm like, this is kind of fun. So I figured I'd give it 2 bits and a haircut with the guy in the bay next to me. So, and then you hear the guy next door. He's like, it could have been a girl. I don't know. And about that time, and my wife's sitting right next to me watching this. Then the curtain opens and a nurse looks in. She goes, Fred Conrad, I haven't seen you since high school. You haven't changed a bit. My wife's over there filling out a divorce petition on her computer. It was really a humiliating experience.
So
I hope I never have to. I guess I will. I don't know.
Me and anesthesia are weird. So when I had mine, I woke up in the middle of it. You're supposed to be they supposed to knock you out. Well, when I got back to the recovery room, all the nurses walking by were just giggling, snickering at me, looking at me, and I could see them walking around, and I'm cutting up with all of them. My wife's just shaking her head like, "Oh my God!" But anyway, I'm loopy from the anesthesia, and I'm cutting jokes and same scenario. I had everybody in there cracking up, laughing. And one of the nurses was a friend of mine's wife, and then so he calls me later and he goes, I don't know what you were saying, but apparently you are one funny son of a gun when you get my wife came home talking about you.
How would you?
And
like
I have no memory of it.
I don't have much. I mean, other than seeing my old high school friend come, and imagine having to work in that, do that every day, and sit there. I mean,
I'd be hurting all the time from laughing.
I mean, my poor wife. I mean, I don't think anybody told her this was coming either. I mean,
yeah, it's an experience. In all seriousness, you need to go get checked, guys, if you're over 50 and you had never had it, Charlie.
Charlie,
look at sitting over there being real quiet.
He is.
I'm just.
You're just taking it in.
I I had I remember when my wife got me fixed, and I had to go do that, and that was the most humiliating experience that I've ever experienced in my life, and I just ain't going back. I ain't gonna do it. And the doctor's cracking jokes the whole time, and I just did not think that bedside humor was not a good time, because when they're trying to snip that stuff and you're laughing, it's just
not
that
good.
just makes it worse.
Yep.
Yeah, they finally told me you have got to quit laughing because every time you do, the things move around and we're gonna mess up.
You don't.
I'm just telling you. I mean, I know. Listen, I know women have some. They have humiliating medical things. They have to go get checked out and stuff. And I just, when I walked in and there were stirrups, I'm like, no.
Oh Lord.
No. And the thing is
just to visualize that.
And I went because I was told, you're getting this done. I got it done after the last baby, and you're getting it done. And I'm like, well, if you got, then why do I have to? And she goes, because I want to make absolutely certain.
That's just pure wrong right there now.
Well, the things you do to stay in a marriage.
Well, they did an endoscopy.
Maybe if it'll make you happy.
Came down from the top.
Yeah, apparently.
They used the same camera?
I don't know. I asked him.
You'd have known.
I did ask him.
Depending on which one they used first.
Well, apparently, I got to go back and get that redone because I pulled it out while I was under the anesthesia. I got a bad gag reflex.
If they used the same camera they used on the other one, I bet JD would have bit it off and spit it out. They could have sanitized that thing 100 times and he'd still pick it up. Can you imagine?
No.
Just think about it. I want you to get the visual image
of
just imagine what it is.
Think about that. I don't know why you brought that up. Only you would have brought that up. I just, that's just nasty.
Lord have mercy.
Okay.
Coot poop.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Green, smelly coot. Coot poop.
I still taste it after you said that.
We're going to air this.
Yeah, this ain't going to be aired, I don't think. Thank God there ain't many coots out there right now.
Yeah.
That's what they were trying to cure with the endoscopy.
Oh my Lord!
I'm going back in a couple of weeks, get it done under like full blown anesthesia, get that straightened out.
Yeah.
How much time we got left?
That dog comes in here again, I'll be able to make it.
2 minutes. I gotta ask Fred a question. I want to do it on the next segment because
I want to ask Fred a question. So you've been goofing off for a month now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Did you accomplish anything worthwhile, like catching fish?
Yeah.
Definitely got a tan.
got a heck of a tan.
Yeah. Was down at St. George for a week with family and had a boat down there. It broke 3 or 4 times like boats do.
Like boats do.
And,
break out another 1,000.
Yeah, break out. I brought my toolbox this time, so I got it up and running, and we went offshore. I think we were about 26 miles offshore, and caught a ton of red grouper, which you can't keep.
Yeah, and not groupers
It's
either.
always nice. Got some snapper, got some mangroves, nice mangroves.
Nice.
That's
good eating.
This time of year, especially this year, for whatever reason, the sharks are just everywhere.
Yeah.
And
so they're endangered, so that's why.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well, they were trying to make me endangered.
He didn't go for a leisurely swim, is what you're saying, while you're out there, just jump off the back and cool off.
The scuba tank stayed on the boat. We didn't. A lot of people out there. We went to several holes that were supposed to be secret, and there's 5 boats on there.
That's the way most of my secret spots are offshore, too. Where'd y'all find out about this? Probably the same guy told me, hey, go to this number.
Yeah.
I've only given them to 47 people.
So, I caught some fish and got the boat running, and it's back getting repairs done on it again. So,
yeah, that is the joys of offshore, especially saltwater boats. Offshore boats is worse than anything. It's just
always something. I mean, having the bait well went bad, and then the hose went bad, and the bait well, and the drain, then the macerator pumps messed. I mean, and you just got to improvise. As long as you understand that if you have a boat, when you want to use it the most, something's going to be broken, you'll be fine.
Yeah. You have you keep the zinc dissolvable zinc stuff all over your motors to
Keep
cut
that.
down on those electrical problems.
I do.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. So,
All right.
well,
We'll be right
I
back.
guess so.
And we're back. So, if you hadn't listened to the show, we told a story back in the day about one of our friends who was a deputy and Fred's family's llama.
Oh, the llama.
And all this kind of stuff. And so, and it was, if you go back, and it was a story about how they were trying to rope a llama, and the deputy was trying to pull on the rope, and it wasn't a rope. They found out it was a male llama.
Mm.
And so,
I didn't find out until this show.
And so obviously, and now Fred brought in over there on the table, there's a framed copy of a newspaper article about, the llama caper and the Conrad family llama and all that. So I had somebody come in the other day and ask a question, and the question was, is Fred going to be on the show? And it's been like a month and a half ago, and I just hadn't got around to doing it. And they said, does Fred play with llama balls? And I said, I don't know, but I wouldn't put it past him.
That would explain the song that you sent to me.
And so, and I said, why? He goes, well, I was playing golf the other day, and somebody thought maybe he did because I asked the question, and they said, knowing Fred Conrad, he probably does. And so I said, so what makes you bring this up? And he goes, well, we were playing, and we found a llama ball out on the golf course. And
it's a Titleist, Fred.
It's a Titleist.
It is a Titleist.
And what is on the ball?
There's a llama on the ball.
There's a llama with sunglasses on the ball. And they said, this must be Fred Conrad's, because who else would play with llama balls? And I said, well, there's a dual meaning in there somewhere.
That is a llama ball.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. Do people get custom branded?
Yeah.
They custom brand their balls like that?
Yeah, you get your balls branded.
Yeah, that's
I had my balls
so have
branded.
You ever seen it?
I'll never have
well, you
another,
can have that, Fred, and then you can play.
I can play with a llama ball this afternoon.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm playing with my wife this afternoon. I'll ask her if she wants to play with my llama ball.
So anyway, so if you're out there and you do,
this
in
segment
fact,
is going to be impossible to edit.
Yeah. Well, so I was.
So don't. It'll be all right.
It's fine because he's holding in his hand the llama ball.
Visually, it's right there. It is a golf ball with a llama on it. It is a llama ball.
Hey, honey, would you like to have a hole-in-one with my llama ball?
Yeah. So
you never know. It can happen.
So if you listen to this show and you play golf in the Tallahassee area and you use a Titleist
with a llama
on it, Fred has one of your llama balls.
And I'd like to have your other llama ball.
All right, that's far enough.
You get a whole sleeve of them.
Fred, can I see your llama ball?
You want to hold my llama ball?
Yeah, I think I do.
How do you get custom branded?
You can get it on the Titleist website. I've looked into it.
Well, then
that's a Titleist number 4.
And he said it was just basically out on the fairway. I guess that's the
doesn't look like it was sliced or anything.
Well, the interesting. I was in Edwin Watts a couple of days ago. They get these second, the logo balls that
they messed up on somehow.
Yeah, either they got an abundance of them, and you can buy them for half price.
Hey,
and I'm going back afterwards to find out whether or not there's any more llama balls in that Titleist batch that they have there now.
Pretty cool.
And thankfully, this will be airing tomorrow, so nobody's going to hear it before I get there. Because there's going to be a run on llama balls.
Yep.
We'll get Fred to autograph this one and auction it off at one of the.
You never know.
So
llama ball going once.
So there. So
it obviously wasn't hit bad. I mean, it's not sliced or it doesn't have a cut in it or anything like that.
Or anything like that.
It just
doesn't even have any.
It's almost like
a perfect llama ball.
It's like somebody set this
pristine.
up. Somebody teed this joke up somewhere along the line out there on the golf course.
I mean, this is worthy of.
I'm gonna make that cowbell disappear.
We have refrained from ringing that bell for the longest time.
Because Fred's the only one rings it, and he's been gone.
Well, it's just way over there.
It's my gong.
Don't do it.
Only doing it is really fun.
Chuck, what was that guy's name? Gong Show, Chuck Berry?
Yeah,
Chuck Barris?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gonged the thing.
You ever seen the movie about him?
Is it a movie?
That guy was a CIA agent.
What?
No joke. There's a movie about him, and he was a CIA agent.
What was the movie called?
I don't remember,
Obviously,
but it's
before he did the show.
Yeah. Well, I think during the time he was doing the show, even.
Really?
The guy was a spy for real. That's not a
They're
joke.
spying on bad talent.
Well, yeah, but that was his cover.
That's
If
pretty
I'm
good
not- if
cover.
I
I
remember-
mean, you know,
Yeah, who's ever going to
who's
think?
going to
that
think that guy's a? Yeah.
It's crazy. It is crazy. Yeah, there was a movie you about it.
You sure he didn't have the Joe Biden disease?
I'm not sure of any. I'm not sure of anything. I could have just completely made that up because I dreamt it last night.
I was a quarterback and a receiver.
He's up there looking like
played
I threw myself
football
a pass.
I caught the pass, and
Well, anyway,
anyway.
Like Biden said the other day.
I mean, what's he going to get intelligence-wise watching some old fat woman with a ventriloquist parakeet or, I just don't see that. Speaking of CIA movies, have you seen The Beekeeper?
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
Very good.
it's entertaining.
Saw it the other night. How many dudes did he kill?
Enough.
A lot.
Not as many as John Wick.
No.
Yeah.
But he was a hell of a lot more
John
creative
Wick's a
than
better
John.
dude. John Wick's a better dude.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
He's
got
better.
several movies
Yeah.
that he's done it in. So,
Yeah.
in totality.
Yep.
So the name of the movie that I was just talking about is called Confessions of a Dangerous Mind.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
I don't know.
Well,
Why you ask me questions like that?
I don't know.
So the adaptation
Biden
of
would write the book to be Confessions of a
it's
Vacant
an
Mind.
adaptation of the cult memoir of game show impresario Chuck Barris, Barris, in which he purports to have been a CIA hitman.
What year did that movie come out?
It came out in 2002.
Really?
Yeah. See, I'm stricken with this
George
disease
Clooney
called
was the
memory.
director.
Yeah, with this memory. Why I remembered that, because if I remember right, it was a horrible movie. But
Great.
but whatever. I mean,
I was all getting keyed up to watch a movie.
well, go
tonight.
watch it. Go
Well,
watch
if it's
it.
horrible,
Why
Well,
not?
there's probably no proof
if
that
I
it
remember
actually
right.
was.
I'm a movie critic, so
Okay. The Beekeeper, I really enjoyed that.
yeah, it was unbelievable, extremely unbelievable.
How about when he
But I did like the when the girl
tied the
broke
guy
out.
up and
Girl
the
broke.
car went in the water?
Yeah,
When he tied the dude to the
Yeah.
truck and went up there, that old got
Yeah.
up under the hood, got the throttle going.
yeah. I liked it when the girl broke out through the cover back on the minigun at a gas station. And
Yeah.
and nobody noticed. I mean, it was like that you didn't have 14 SWAT teams from from different counties coming in there. Somebody running through a minigun belt.
I always hate, you watch the movies and you go back and there'll be like the SWAT team will show up and then like two detectives with no body armor and nothing but a pistol
Go in first.
and they'll have SWAT guys
Stacked.
rappelling out of the ceiling randomly for no apparent reason with machine guns, and they're just killing them, just killing all of them, and they're all dying. And these like this the two detectives with no body armor and no tactical training, they're just running around.
My
Jokes
favorite one is when you
and they don't get shot,
Yeah.
and that's just so stupid.
And you
to
see
me.
this on TV all the time. Blue Bloods is one of the worst. They take the lead characters that are detectives or whatever,
yeah.
and they're the entry on the front of the stack,
Yeah,
and
they're
you got a
knock on
tack
the-
team stacked behind them, and they're
Yeah.
the ones up there going in the door first.
With the windbreakers.
That ain't
on.
how it works.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so.
It's high tech.
But it's exciting.
I wonder if our buddy Bill Kelly could give us some insight into how they put that stuff together, because he's a movie star and all.
Well, I would say, Bill Kelly over the years, starring in all these shows, and he plays cops a lot in the shows. He was the sheriff or whatever in the Crawdaddy, where the Crawdaddy sing. He was the sheriff there, but
Really?
he's
Bloodline, I think, was one of the series.
yeah, but he always generally when he's doing one of those movies, he comes to us sometimes with questions about stuff. Several times he's come to me with questions
Really?
when he's getting ready to do a cop show, because a lot of people don't even know how to how cops are trained to hold guns, which is kind of how me and Charlie have made
like
a living. Me and Charlie have made a living for for the last 10 or 12 years. The proper way of doing things.
No, and I can't watch these movies, but my wife sits there and she just shakes her head because I'll be going, "Oh yeah, like that would happen," or "What is he doing?" But every now and then I'll go, "Dang, cool. Somebody talked." Somebody showed him the right way.
The John Wick movies are the perfect example of that. The John Wick movies, as unbelievable as they are, Keanu Reeves spent a whole bunch of time with Terran Tactical, and those movies are nothing but a 3-gun match with some. I
don't know why he has to shoot everybody in the head, and then he runs out of ammo because after he got him on the ground, I mean, he just could have kept on going, but he's got to go back and shoot everybody in the head, and I'm like, that's kind of a waste of ammo.
They're not going to come after him after that. There
is in fact that. There is that. Yeah.
But yeah, he's I've seen pictures of him shooting for real, and or seen videos of him shooting for real, and he is as legit as any movie star I've ever seen.
Well, he didn't spend any time with lawyers before he did Devil's Advocate. I can tell you right now.
No, he didn't research that real well.
No.
I mean, you being a lawyer, you probably watch movies with lawyers in it. And
you want to know what the most accurate movie in
My Cousin Vinny.
Yes. It is procedurally accurate.
Yeah.
Even the objections were correctly ruled on in that movie by Herman Munster.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that is the arraignment, from the arraignment all the way to the verdict, to the jury selection. I mean, the whole
I
just
want to know how in all the New York shows they get from the arrest. They're having a trial when the guy still has a black eye from getting punched in the crime. I mean, they've seated the jury and they are getting a verdict.
Speedy
and the
trial.
guy still got scratches on them from the dadgum fight they were in.
Yeah, they got a very strict speedy trial rule in New York, I guess.
Got to be like the next day.
Yeah.
They got a jury pool sitting in the hall just waiting
on somebody to mess up.
Hey, we'll bring them in. Got the witnesses
we need a
all
jury,
subpoenaed.
just let the first 12 line up.
And, the lawyer's prepared his opening statement. He does all that overnight.
Yeah.
They don't spend any time.
They're good lawyers, Fred.
Yeah,
that's the difference.
I got it. Okay.
All right,
I was wondering about that.
We'll be right back.
That's good.
All right. Next segment, bottom of the hour. Got any?
Okay.
No, we got nothing.
Gonna roll. All right. Bottom of the hour, Wiregrass segment.
That was Wiregrass.
In 3, 2, 1.
And we're back. So I'm wondering how well this segment will age, because I'm going to ask y'all about. I'm going to ask you a question.
You got an axe?
Yeah.
All right.
So right now, at the time we're recording this show, the whole country is wondering, is Biden going to stay in the race for president, or are they going to find some way to finagle him out? So I kind of want to put odds on. Well, come the election, is he still on the ballot?
I'll give you my 2 cents, because I noticed something on my my telephone's news feed segment. I got a news feed that basically goes through everybody's different top story kind of stuff.
Right, get news.
Reuters, AP, and CNBC all were publicizing his gaffes from the press conference Thursday night and the NATO conference where he called Zelensky Putin and called Harris Vice President Trump. Mm-hmm. So now that they're on,
which
now
is a big
they're
insult to Trump, by the way.
Yeah, but the fact that they're reporting on stuff that we've been noticing for a while now, is pretty telling on the likelihood that they're hunting something.
Well, the media is obviously doing. The media is obviously doing.
They're trying to pull the ripcord. They're trying to get out of this thing. I mean, But
I don't
that just because the media finally is starting to I mean it's to the point now where they have to, it's not that the left media has any kind of integrity or they're trying to do the right thing. It's just they're trying to save face for later on.
Yeah,
That's right.
Oh, that's absolutely right. Save what slight sliver of.
They don't want to deal with. Here's how that breaks down. They don't want to deal with another Trump term where he just hands it right back to them. They don't want to handle that. And so they're not concerned about the betterment of the country. They're not concerned about whether the country is safer with Biden in office or not. That has nothing to do with it. All they care about is making sure Trump doesn't win the next term. Has nothing to do with trying to protect the security of the country.
No, because the country's falling apart.
Well, that's just like Biden's probably correct when he says all these NATO leaders they don't want Trump back in the office. I'm sure they don't.
I'm sure they don't.
He's going to make them pay their fair share.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to have to pay their fair share. He's going to go into Ukraine. And he's going to force some sort of a settlement between them, or else we're not going to keep funding it. He's going to do. Lord knows what will happen with Israel. Trump is there again. I don't particularly. I'm not at all fond of him at all. Sometimes I wish he'd just shut up. He could win the election if he would go home right now, sit at the house, and not say another word. He'd probably win this election.
Have y'all noticed he don't seem to be as much on social media saying stuff as he was before? Have you noticed? I'm not
on social media. He's on Truth Social or whatever now.
Yeah, I have noticed there has not been a lot of reporting of what he said lately, and that's probably by design. I mean, I was listening to somebody the other day talking about how he seems more relaxed now. He's never been in a position where he was the front runner before.
Yeah.
He's always having to come from behind.
He was the guy that when he was running for president, everybody laughed about it when they brought his name up until the very end, until the tail end of it. They're like, "Oh my goodness!"
Oh yeah, nobody.
He's fixing to be the nominee.
So what do you think? So Biden can't. I don't think Biden should stay in office. I think they should.
I think the country's at risk as we are sitting here now.
I honestly think so. The man, hey, there's a nuclear missile been fired at one of our military outposts. What do we do? He goes, well, the president's taking his fourth nap of the day, and he's going to wake up groggy, and so somebody else is pulling the string. Somebody else is doing it.
I mean,
it's been that way from the beginning.
So what I was fixing to say, you're making the presumption that he actually makes any decisions about anything.
I don't think he's made a decision since he's been in office.
So, and they're not letting the vice president do it. They're not letting Kamala Harris do anything. She's just a figurehead. And a terrible one at that. So, but that's the only person that at this point I think that they can plug in there.
It's the only person they can legally get on the ballot,
right?
And that's by taking him out of office before the end of his term. They can get her on the ballot in some of these states.
And I don't think they have the guts to do that because they're going to try to coddle him along and treat him with some sense of respect, but
a little bit of dignity he may have left.
But I really think we need to sit back and focus on what can be unburdened by what has been.
What?
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. In her famous words. We'll be right back.
What?
And we're back. So about to kick off the scenario-based training stuff we've been talking about for a while. I came in here the other night and messed up all Grant's cameras and stuff, filming about an hour-long segment to preface all that stuff. And anyway, so getting that kicked off. And
already had a couple of different church groups, church security teams reach out about putting something together for them. We're doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there are some church scenarios in there.
Did you ever do that, Paul?
No.
And there's
what?
Y'all ain't been here.
No, I was waiting on you. You're supposed to show up that day, but you had to go to that colonoscopy thing.
Yeah.
And so there's active shooter stuff in there as well. And so we're going to be, we can do the active shooter stuff. We're trying to line up some of the school-based guardians to come in and do some school active shooter scenarios as well.
Oh, that's cool.
And so and actually, I think we're going to be working with Gaston County. There are guardians in some Leon County schools. Actually, my security company has some guardians in some schools. We picked up a new contract, and so training them on school-based scenarios as well. All that's in there. And, it came up, I know there's a couple people running for local office that are voicing their concerns about having guardians versus law enforcement in schools. And I'm just going to come out and say this. people don't understand what the Guardian program is all about. The Guardians are not there to work car burglaries or all the things. Law enforcement officers are trained to do a myriad of different things. I mean, the amount of training that they get over the years to do everything from domestic batteries to, JD, what cops do? Work traffic, testify in court.
Write police reports, break up fights, the whole 9 yards, and that's not what Guardians are about.
And consequently, you pay through the nose for those people because either they're working off duty, which is a higher rate of pay, or you're hiring them full time as school resource deputies. But
which is a very high rate of pay.
Right, and I'm a big fan of that. I mean, and back home in Jackson County, the people in the schools are law enforcement officers, and they you get to use them a little bit in the summertime, but the school pays for it, and it comes out of budget. But Florida law prescribes the ability to use school guardians, and school guardians could be anybody from not an administrative person or support staff, not a school teacher in the school that goes through.
Could be the janitor.
And something. Yeah, it could be a janitor that could be you could take a veteran, combat veteran or veteran, and somebody, or and so what happens is you put them through 100 and something hours of firearms training, de-escalation training, dealing with special needs people. A day or so of defensive tactics, because that's not really what the job is. You're not trying to handcuff people. They just have to show you the basics. But ultimately, your job is to be a person in a school with a gun who will stop an active shooter. Right. That's the job. And that's what I concern myself with. I'm not worried. When I let the PE coach break up fights at the school with my kids, if it's going on or whatever, that's what it is. But if it comes to somebody going on that campus with a gun, I want people with a gun. Now, I'm a fan of letting a vice principal that wants to arm himself have a gun and go through that same training, and Jackson County's done that. We don't do that over here in the Leon County area. But to hire a company that can provide trained guardians that get recertified every year through the local sheriff's office, or a local sheriff's office in our case, that goes through scenario-based training, has all of that type of training, and then put them in the schools for a fraction of the cost.
For a singular purpose.
For a singular purpose. Their job is not to work the car burglary, and they're going to call 911, but you know what the deputy's going to do if he's working the campus? He's going to get on the radio and do the same thing. Right. He's going to call for help.
And that's just it. I was speaking with a gentleman today from a local sheriff's office, not Leon County or whatever. I'm not going to say but I was telling them about the school shooting scenario-based stuff that we have, and they're very interested in coming over because they're doing the Guardian program as designed. They're not hiring. They can't afford to hire security guards or more deputies or whatever, but they do have school staff, not teaching staff, but school administrative. They used to have school staff that have been through the training, and they're doing it as the Guardian program was designed.
And they don't have to come here. We can go to them. I'll go to. I'll
exactly
take that machine.
Exactly the conversation I had with them this morning. I said you ain't got to come here. We can come to you if that's what you're looking for, and we'll do it as price friendly as we possibly can, because we both very much believe in the program.
Absolutely.
And I wish that Leon County would do it.
We can go to churches and do the same thing. Typically,
and private schools, I'm sure.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
And so if you've got, if you're in our listening radius, and this includes Alabama too, if you want to do scenario-based training for some reason up in Alabama, we have scenario-based portable machine. We'll travel. I mean, so it's just we'll talk to you, and we try to price it on a per-person basis as we can, make it affordable, and we're not expending any resources except time at that point in time. We're trying to pay for the machine.
You think about it. I mean, there are a ton of people in this part of the state who grew up with firearms, have a working proficiency, who are very good shots. Who've hunted all their lives and can.
Now it's just a matter of transitioning them to the Guardian.
Yeah, they are. I mean, just give them a little the training necessary to protect people versus shoot a bird.
Yeah.
Well, Wakulla County teaches a great Guardian school. Gaston County does a great Guardian school. Leon County doesn't do a Guardian school. The Guardians in Leon County are trained by sheriffs in the surrounding counties. They have to be trained under the auspices of a sheriff. By law. And the sheriff has to keep them certified, and they have to go in for annual qualification, the same as law enforcement does. So what they're doing in the Guardian program is they're taking what makes a cop, and they're carving out the things that are most critical.
For protection of students.
For just solely to protect the lives of students, faculty, staff, visitors to the school, to stop active shooters or active threats, be it a machete attack or a gun attack. That's what they're there to do. And they hang out at parent pick up and drop off and do things and walk the perimeter and do all that just like anybody else would. What I see is the advantage to me of one of the advantages, price, obviously. But the other thing about guardians is if you've got school staff there, they know the students. They know all of the students. They know what's going on in the school. If you have a guardian assigned to a school and that's where they work every day, if it is a private security company and they're solely dedicated to that school, they get the same advantage. They get to know everybody that's there. If you're rotating off-duty law enforcement through there, you come with a highly qualified person. Not all of them are the best shooters in the world. We've been training cops our whole career. We know that for a fact. Not every security guard, not every guardian, not everybody is exactly top-notch shot, but they do have to qualify. So they meet the basic standards. And if you've got the money, I'm all about putting cops in schools.
Oh, yeah, I absolutely. But
you're going to rotate different faces through there over time, and you don't sometimes make that connection with the kids.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't understand the expense of a law enforcement officer, having that guy on staff. It's not just their salary, it's their, like you said, the immense amount of training and ongoing training that they have to do. It's all the benefits and whatever else. So you take an officer that, I'm just going to make up a number, you take an officer that makes $100,000 a year in salary, and then you can almost double that by the time they get their benefits and their retirement and their equipment and their training and all that stuff. You're talking about a really expensive process to have more police officers or more deputies in schools.
Well, I know what it costs to take a security officer that's making X amount of dollars an hour and then staff them on a job site. And then you take payroll taxes and workers' comp, and then just like we do here, but then liability insurance, and then you're talking about overhead, everything from fuel to training time to administrative time to scheduling time.
Which is why the Guardian program was started, so they could take existing employees, pay them a little bit extra, train them, and that was what the Guardian program was all about, a cost-effective means of having trained personnel on staff.
You can train your own people, you can outsource it to a private company, or you can bring in law enforcement, and and then a lot of places do it Leon County does it pretty much.
A blend of everything.
A blend of everything except training, school staff. And then the school system actually has some of their own people that are in their safety and security department that work for Jimmy Williams, and they have those people in there. And every county has their own way of doing it, and it works out, what the school board and local people want. And there's always discussion, and the big discussion every year is how do we save money and still protect our children. Yeah. And as a parent of kids in the public school system, I'm all about protecting my kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, right. that's what it all boils down to, and that's the way it is.
All right. Well, we'll be back in just a minute. And we're back. So we were talking on the break about Supreme Court decision, how it has a rippling effect from the fishing industry. It's liable to actually rock the boat a little bit as it relates to other issues outside of just how the government. What government entity was it that was regulating fishing?
This was either NOAA or the federal version
NOAA.
of
Yeah, NOAA. That's federal.
I think it was NOAA that was doing this.
He had a boat too.
NOAA.
It didn't sink.
A good one. Didn't sink either.
Yeah. Had a rattlesnake on it.
Sure did.
Had a couple of them, unfortunately. Anyway,
so the Chevron decision is what we're talking about, the latest Supreme Court decision.
Yeah, what they did was the Chevron decision was made a long time ago. Right. What this did was it overturned the doctrine that extended from that Chevron decision. So the Chevron decision, just in case anybody doesn't know, was the way you have administrative law. This is executive branch stuff. So you got your your three branches of government. You got legislative, judicial, executive. Executive branch promulgates administrative law. So like a lot of your DMV rules, that's an administrative agency. It falls under the executive branch. They make their own rules. And and they govern conduct. In the DMV case, it'd be driver's license. In the case of the commercial fishery, it would be NOAA. They make their own rules, and in this particular case, they had a rule that they interpreted to allow their monitors to go on commercial fishing boats, and the commercial fishing captain had to pay for the room and board for that guy. He took up space, and they had to pay salary as well. And that guy's sole job was to go out there and monitor your conduct while you were engaged in your commercial activity and make sure you didn't break the rules. That's what his job was. So you basically had to hire a cop to come watch you drive.
Right.
So
wow, that's crazy.
That's pretty much what's going on here. And that got into the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, in the process of ruling in the favor of the fishermen, overturned the Chevron doctrine and said, no, you don't get to interpret your rule, and the court has to give deference to your interpretation anymore. So that's not the rule anymore. So what's the fallout of that?
Yeah.
Well, if you think about it, if you go and you look at the statutes that govern size limits for fish,
Right.
all right, the size limits themselves are not things that are voted on in the Florida legislature. That doesn't come up for a vote every year, and they say, okay, this year it's going to be a 14-inch grouper or a 15-inch or 15-inch flounder, 14-inch, whatever it is. All right, FWC makes that rule.
Right.
They're delegated that authority by the legislature. And the question becomes, okay, now that the Chevron doctrine has been overturned, can a judge get in and say, no, we don't think you had the authority to do that?
Oh, I see.
And that's a good thing, because it gives more power back to the people, because the people don't vote on the FWC commissioners.
Right.
They're appointed.
They're appointed.
All right. They do vote for the legislatures. And I think it's a signal that the court is going back to, constitutional originalist, strict construction, textual reading. So you got originalists; those are people that go back and look at what the founding fathers would have said. The textualist is the guy, and that's what I am, is the guy who reads the Constitution and says, it says this, it doesn't say that.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with the strict construction of what it says in the Constitution and apply that to the law. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think power coming back to the states
Sure.
is a very good thing, because Florida is different from Utah. The way our culture's different or whatever, and you have Utah doesn't have to worry about size limits on groupers and how many snapper you can keep or whatever. So
so all those rules are from FWC. That's
in Florida. That's the case. Yes.
Out to federal orders.
Out to federal orders. Yeah.
But you got to come back through state orders. So does it?
It depends. So if you're fishing federal waters, and the season is closed in state waters, you cannot stop when you leave federal waters. You can't stop until you get to the dock.
Gotcha.
And be prepared to show them your GPS your track on your GPS where you were.
They will certainly look at that. That's another question.
I swear I was in federal waters on this 14-foot John boat. I had an extra gas
now,
can.
Now, does that
the wind
apply
blew
with
it
freshwater too? Because there's regulations in freshwater about limits.
No, you're in freshwater. You're within the bounds of the state.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
But this whole thing brings into question, does the federal government or does the government have the right to make up their own rules that are not covered in law? Is it give the executive branch of either state government or federal government the right to make up rules that are not in statutory language in law? Can they make up their rules, and can they pick their own people to enforce to see whether or not the rules were broken?
To interpret those rules.
To interpret allows them to make the rules and interpret the rules and determine whether or not you broke the rules without all of that, without you having the right to contest that in court.
State police itself.
Well, this also came into play when it came to like the pistol braces and bump stocks and things like that, where the ATF is saying we interpret this way, and then the courts are going no. I mean, no, you can't do that. So what we're finding is with conservative courts and conservative justices at the top, you're going back to, hey, yeah, you can't You can't write
Arbitrarily
write laws.
Right.
Yeah, so you're going back to the fundamentals. So you take a law and you put it in the our constitutional framework. It's pretty simple. The legislature makes the law. The courts interpret the law. The executive branch enforces the law. That's the way it's supposed to work. And we're seeing a return to that fundamental principle of constitutional framework.
And then
I
we
think
as
that's
the
a good
people
thing.
can decide who
Yes.
we get in, who we put
Who
in
we
place
elect.
to do that.
to do that. And
So-
that's the
and you get consistency that way because they can't change the law
Right.
based on a whim. You know, you get a
Right.
different president, you get a Democratic president in when you had a Republican president. Now all of the policies and all the rules all of a sudden get changed by this huge
Keystone
bureaucracy.
well, the perfect example is the IRS, who changes the tax code
all the
all
time.
the time. Things that you could deduct 10 years ago, you can't anymore. Stuff that you can deduct now or count now is different than it was then.
Keystone Pipeline.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, if Trump opened it up, day Biden get in there, shut it down, lost how many? 3,000 jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are the fish biting, Paul?
They have been. It's gotten a little slow with this warm weather, but I had a great trip this week with some folks down from Ohio. Had the kid catch his personal best bass, about a 5-pounder. He said, "I never caught one before." I said, "Well, you just keep throwing out." I had to teach them how to cast a spinning reel. Took a little while, but once they got it down, about the third day, they could. Because we're fishing just a couple hours in the morning and in the evening. It's been so hot, but he caught a big one. It was so awesome. The fish hooked himself, but it was incredible.
That's got to
It was incredible.
So,
Top water bites
so
working.
rewarding. For
It is.
kid
It
to-
really
Top water
is.
bites working in this heat?
Early and
early
late.
and late.
Okay.
Now you got to go saltwater fishing.
I did.
And how many did you bring some back?
I did. They've already been eaten. And I discovered my wife can flat out broil a mangrove snapper. And she did a real good job on that.
was good.
They were really good.
That's one of my favorite dinner fish right there. I love a mangrove snapper.
And these were big too. I mean, probably 10 pounds.
Oh, well, that is a good.
I mean, we were in deep water, and we went deep because it's doggone hot.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you've got to go deep in order to get anything right now. And we had great weather. I mean, I blew out 26 miles going 45, 46 miles an hour the whole way. Had boat trimmed up, just perfectly. It was like being on a lake last week. It was. That's a good thing about this.
Beautiful weather.
Of course, the problem is when you get out that far, you got to keep your eye on the weather because those storms will pop up in no
Do you
time.
have radar on the boat?
I don't have radar, but I got a kid that I sit up on the bow.
Yeah, I totally get it.
And but you can see them coming a mile away. You look for the cumulonimbus clouds, that kind of thing, and you can dodge around them when you're that far out because you got so much visibility out there.
Right.
Go head towards the blue stuff, not the dark, not the dark colored stuff.
And I've been in the position where we've been caught in one of those, and
Yeah.
it is not fun.
Yeah, that's one thing.
I've
When
had
you're
them-
going out out in the ocean or any lake. Make sure your fire extinguisher, your horn, everything is checked. We just talked about the other day. If you don't, because you don't never know when that
You don't?
emergency is going to happen. It's like Charlie and JD always talks about situational awareness. Be prepared.
Oh, yeah.
I have to remind myself to do that. I fish every day. I need. Okay, is everything in order?
It's you
You don't need it till you need it.
Every time I pull out of the river, it's the Carabel River. I'm doing a radio check just to make sure.
Yep.
Never had one go bad, but you never know. I mean, you don't want to be out there without communication.
And having a mirror, just a mirror.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there's all kind of signaling devices that work, but
I was trying to figure out why he needed a mirror.
signaling
Right,
device,
yeah,
Charlie.
I get it now, but for a second I'm looking at Paul like, why, you just worried about what you look like out there on? Well,
Comb his hair for the fish. I mean,
all right, see y'all next time. It took me a minute, Paul. And you just need a mirror.